Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, and this is my review for AWAKEN ASTRAL BLADE. So, dear viewers, this particular video game originally released last year, a year I remember fondly as the year I played a hell of a lot of video games. But we are not here to talk about just any old bloody video game. We are here to talk about AWAKEN ASTRAL BLADE. And just like that beautiful bearded bastard Barry Bertrum, you're probably wondering,
what is this?
AWAKEN ASTRAL BLADE is a fast-paced Metroidvania action-adventure video game thingamajig, in which we play as Tanya, a bionic girl on a quest to uncover the mysteries of the Horus Islands. Obviously, there's a lot more to the story than that, but to get into that, I would have to dissect this jumbled mess of sci-fi cliches and mysterious energy sources and all of that nonsense. So instead, let's review this Metroidvania video game the only way I know how, badly. Now, while I said that the game's story is a bit of a jumbled mess, I ended up rather enjoying it, especially some of the twists and turns that it took throughout. Of course, most of these twists and turns were rather predictable, to me anyway, but I am a bona fide genius. So yes, the story was actually rather good. And even better, there's not one, but two different endings. The quote-unquote normal ending, and then the true ending. And like a lot of these true endings, you have to do some additional things later in the game to unlock that. And no, I'm not going to tell you how to do that for yourselves. I already have to tell Bertrum how to wipe his bony ass after visiting the gentleman's room, so that's enough for me. While this isn't obviously a AAA video game, and the visuals and character models reflect such, I actually rather enjoyed the visuals for this game. Mostly because I'm actually rather relieved that a game developer has not chosen to take advantage of that bloody pixel-style retro aesthetic that a lot of bastards these days take advantage of. Another thing I really enjoyed was the game's gameplay. You know what to expect here if you've ever played a Metroidvania before, but I'll explain it as quick as I can, which is necessary considering I've been needing the toilet for the last 2 hours and 17 minutes. So apart from platforming, which is pretty standard in this kind of video game, you also have the game's combat, which is also pretty standard. Hacking and slashing, combos, parries, special abilities that you can find and unlock. You can upgrade Tanya's skills and weapons using resources you'll find throughout the game. Some of the platforming can be a little bit tricky, especially later in the game, but you'll be very glad to hear that there's actually an option in the game which will let you essentially bypass most of these difficult platforming sections. If you just can't get past them, or can't be bothered to even attempt them, or if you're simply trying to get through this game as quickly as possible. Basically, you'll encounter a portal at the start of the difficult platforming sequence. You go through it, and it will teleport you to the end of said difficult platforming experience. Speaking of mechanics that are implemented into the game to give you a helping hand, if you happen to find any of the game's many boss fights to be a little bit tricky, if you die a certain amount of times, the game will give you the option to, well, power up your character, giving you more health, and it'll continue to do this until you beat said tricky bastard of a boss. Of course, this is an optional mechanic, and if you're a gaming professional like I am, you can simply beat the boss with no assistance at all. And like a lot of these video games, you'll be happy to hear that there are several difficulty options that you can take advantage of. So overall, I really enjoyed this game, which is particularly rare considering I'm somewhat exhausted with Metroidvania video games these days. But rather remarkably, I never found myself getting bored or annoyed. But that's probably because of those little helpful mechanics that you can activate in the game if it starts to annoy you that little bit too much. But was there anything in the game that I didn't like so much? Well, it's time to be completely frank and honest, dear viewers. Bertrum squeaks like a garden mouse from time to time when he's in a particularly deep sleep.
That's not true.
Shut up, Bertrum. Also, Awaken Astral Blade is very much a been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, accidentally set fire to the t-shirt, bought another t-shirt, found out it didn't fit me, so I took the t-shirt back and demand that the squinty-eyed cashier in the shop exchange it for a larger size. That is to say, this is very much like a lot of Metroidvania games you might have played before. Platforming, hacking and slashing, getting power-ups so you can progress to new areas, backtracking, though thankfully you do unlock fast travel at some point in the game, which is definitely very helpful. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that this is a very enjoyable video game. So if you haven't played it and you have liked what you've heard or seen here, then maybe give it a go for yourself. Who knows? You might be quite surprised. Therefore, I declare that Awaken Astral Blade is very good. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, another review by yours truly. If you enjoyed this little review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, well, well then, feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming. Are you still here? Oh, you must have really enjoyed this video then. In that case, you had better subscribe to the channel and check out our other content. Otherwise, you're a booby pants, and no one wants to be a booby pants.